Before you're allowed to hunt by yourself, you have to take the hunter safety course, right? They go over some basic hunting things like deer behavior and all that, and then they spend a lot of time talking about safety. Duh, it's the hunter safety course. Which safety is obviously very important, but I keep hearing and seeing things online that make me wonder just what people are thinking. And quite honestly, they're probably not thinking at all. They either did not pay attention during this portion of the safety course, or they took it 100% online and they didn't learn anything. Somebody probably told them just what answers to put down just so they could pass the course and move on. You would think some things just shouldn't have to be said, but I've decided that that's exactly what I'm going to do in this video. I'm just going to come out and say it. So in this video, we're going to go over 3 things that are just absolutely dangerous that you should never do while hunting. But before we go over these absolutely dangerous and idiotic things I've seen people doing, do me a favor, and if this is your first time on my channel, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you click that bell icon so you can be notified every time I upload a video. And the first absolutely stupidly dangerous thing I've seen people doing, you should absolutely never do this, is shoot at something that you cannot clearly identify. There has been a string of hunting accidents recently where somebody gets shot by another hunter because they thought they were a deer. And I just don't understand how something like that can happen. Actually, there are a couple of recent trends where somebody would possibly get mistaken for a deer or a turkey. There's a famous hunter who recently wore the pelt and the head of one buck that was recently harvested so he could sneak up on another buck and shoot it. And you've got people wearing fake turkeys on their heads so they can reap them or just crawl closer to them to get a shot. And that is just absolutely asking for trouble. Somebody is going to get killed trying to follow what these people are doing. Don't do anything. Don't be pretending to be the animal that you're trying to hunt, especially if you're on public land. And, just putting that aside, you can't control what other people are doing. You can't help it if somebody thinks they have to do these idiotic things to tag a deer or a turkey or whatever they're trying to do to get famous on Instagram. You can't control that. So you have to be absolutely 100% sure of what you're seeing before you even aim at it. There are tons of reports out there of not only somebody shooting another hunter they thought was a deer, but they're shooting cattle and horses and goats and whatever else could be out there. I mean, have these people never seen a deer before? You have to know what it is before you aim at it and know whether it's a doe or a buck. And I can understand how somebody can make the mistake of shooting what they thought was a doe but turned out to be a button buck. It's happened to me. It's happened to lots of people. That's not a big deal unless there's certain rules or whatever, but that's not a terrible thing. What's terrible is somebody just hearing a sound or seeing some movement and then just turning and shooting their buddy. Or there's reports of somebody, some old man shot his grandson or some guy shot his daughter. You cannot shoot at sounds or movement. Know exactly what something is before you even aim at it. And do not use your scope as binoculars. Get some binoculars so you can see farther. Don't aim at something just to see what it is. Again, this stuff shouldn't have to be said. And the second dangerous thing you should never do is climb a fence or climb up or out of your tree stand with a loaded weapon. This one is the whole reason I decided to do this video. And I'm sure we've all seen that photo, and actually I'm probably going to use it as a thumbnail. Please don't sue me, PSE Archery, but that whole action shot, the sun going down in the background, this hunter hopping a fence, a 2-strand fence with an arrow knocked in his bow. And I just wonder how many times did they have to retake that shot just to get the right picture? Or how many times he almost stabbed himself with that broadhead? And like I said, that photo was done or promoted by PSE Archery, a bow manufacturer that's been around for a long time. I'm sure a lot of you have PSE bows. And that's just what you can expect when a company hires a non-hunter for their marketing campaign. And honestly, I don't know if whoever runs this or decided this was a good thing to do is a hunter or not. I hope not, and that they just didn't know any better. But honestly, you can't really tell these days. But they've been catching a lot of crap for this photo shoot, and rightfully so. But that's not what really concerns me. What concerns me is the new hunters that don't know that this is a dumb and dangerous thing to do. To properly cross a fence while hunting, assuming you have permission to cross that fence, is to unload your weapon, set it on the other side of the fence, climb the fence, reload your weapon. Or the same thing for getting into your tree stand. Unload your weapon, get set up in your tree stand, get comfortable, pull your weapon up, and then reload it. There are tons of stories every year of someone accidentally shooting themselves or someone else by doing dumb things like crossing fences with a loaded weapon or climbing in and out of their stand while it's loaded. Once you're in your stand or you're safely on the ground, you can load your weapon then. But I don't even know that you should walk around with a loaded weapon. There's been plenty of stories of people tripping and falling and shooting themselves because they're not watching where they're going. Now, there are times where having the weapon loaded and one in the chamber just makes sense. You're doing spot and stock or something like that. Just always be aware of the rules of firearm safety. It's always pointed in a safe direction. You've got the safety on. You have good trigger finger discipline, and you don't point it at anything that you don't intend to destroy. So again, don't be scoping stuff out with your rifle scope. Use your damn binoculars. And never ever do anything just for the pure purposes of putting online. Don't be jumping fences and doing stupid stuff just trying to get insta-famous. That is never a good idea. And the third dumb and dangerous thing that hunters still do is get in their stand without their safety harness on. You should have known that I couldn't do a video about safety without including the safety harness. I mean, it just seems like people still don't want to wear them. Last weekend, a friend and I were hanging a tree stand, and he was telling me about some of his coworkers that don't wear their safety harnesses. They have them, but most of the time they don't even wear them. It's just uncomfortable and inconvenient or whatever excuse they would give. And then literally the next day, and I'm dead serious, the next day, he called and told me that one of them fell out of his tree stand. Luckily, he fell into a cedar tree that sort of broke his fall, and he only ended up with some bruises, but he was extremely lucky. They are definitely wearing their safety harnesses now, but not everybody gets that second chance. Not everybody gets to be like, oh man, I fell out of my tree stand, I really sprained up my knee, or I bruised up my shoulder when I landed on the ground, so I'm definitely wearing my safety harness now. A lot of times, people fall and they either never get back up or they never walk again. So don't wait for you to have an accident before you realize how important it is to wear that safety harness. Just get the damn thing on so you don't have to worry about it. So that was 3 dangerous things you should never do while hunting. If you have any more dangerous things you'd like to share, you'd like to get out there so people know not to do them, or ones that you've been through and learned the hard way, leave those down in the comments below. Hit that like button if you liked this video, share it if you found it helpful, and make sure that you are subscribed so you can stay informed.